Hello everybody, today me, Pontus and Shatterfang over there is joined by Bradicus.
Hello! I'm excited to be on here. Long time listener, long time viewer, first time player. Really excited to make Mons and Pontus and Rhetoric enjoy my stacks variant of the War Doctor. Alright, so I built this. I really love Doctor Who as a show. John Hurt was an amazing actor. When he came on screen, I as happy as I could have been while watching Doctor Who. And I had to build something out of it, and I thought cEDh was a perfect pair. It stops those pesky Atavaras, as Mons would say, and it stops a Thorical win. I'm trying to break parity with a lot of rule of law effects, and I'm trying to actually put a hard lock in the game where the Doctor plays through and beats your face. It's a war of attrition.
So today I'm also again bringing Team Nadargo. We've been trying to rework this deck a bunch. Connor and me, mostly Connor, stripped it for parts, and then me and Vilja tried to rebuild it from the ground up. So there's some new spice, some just good cards, and I really want to see how it runs.
I'm playing my favorite deck, Sisay. This is a combo lock attempt, basically. I'm trying to put cool effects into play, stacks cards, similar to how the War Doctor is doing it. Basically lock down people, so we have something like the Possibility Storm, together with Laviniasaurus Renegade that I can tutor for with Sisay. But I also have this creature that can tutor for Opposition Agent and basically create a hard lock as well. Otherwise, it's just the typical Sisay with Dockside and Loops and Nayelas and tricks.
Me, I'm playing Bluefarm, and that's why I picked this animal picture, this cute little black squirrel that's in the backyard, and also because I have a terrible cold. So, when we play Bluefarm today, we're just using the, I would say, like standard fare with the deck. I've never played it, and I'm excited to give it a try, but we have all kinds of good stuff in here. The One Ring, Thorical Lines, the typical stuff that wins many games when you play Bluefarm. Right then, this first 7, player 1, and we have Fish, and we have Lotho turn 2. Man, this is really great. Our lands are terrible here, like with Exotic Orchard and this sort of Gemstone Caverns. Like, we can't really do anything with it, but we're going to get enormous value, I assume, from Lotho later on. And because I'm not feeling that well, I'm not going to think too deeply, so I'm going to keep the 7 and move on.
This first 7 is a bit too many lands. We have an Ancient Tomb, so that's some fast mana. Urge Leafcaller is not a creature that works with Kinnan. It's a very good combo piece, but we need something better than this. Like, Kinnan isn't good enough for just 5 lands here, so we're gonna take our first mulligan. It's a turn 1 Mystic Remora by using the Mox Diamond. Could get accidentally stuck here. We have a Ristic Study afterwards. Code of Calling is good. Lots of great cards. Or am I going to get fed? Pontus can play around it. The War Doctor, I don't know. It feels like a hit and miss. And Bluefarm, I honestly don't know either. I want to keep it, but I think this is just too risky. Like, if this fish doesn't do it for me, I'm kind of out of this game, and we can get safer hands, more reliable hands, and still even more explosive hands than this. So let's go to a 6. Code of Call. Wait, this is actually kind of good. We have a turn 1 Dork, that's what I personally like. Well, Mana Crypt would be better, Sol Ring would be better, but still this is going to work out in that kind of favor. Eldemir's Call to find Dockside, and we have Emil in play and Kutzil. We have 0 interaction, we have a tutor, we have our combo, a very small mana ramp here, and then we have some lands. We could be sitting here and praying that the War Doctor is going to lock down the game a tiny bit for us. Might not happen. We should be able to play around the War Doctor pretty okay. In the end, I think I'm going to keep this. Oh, we have to bottom 1 card. I think we can afford bottoming this land. There we go. So this is the 6 that I'm keeping.
I really like the look of my first hand. I'll be able to put a rule law effect on board turn 2, and I will start being able to feed the War Doctor right after that and break their draw. So I think we're going to keep this first hand.
The problem is that we don't have triple black. The 2 things we would want to tutor for with our Enlightened Tutor are Citadel, which is 3 black, or Necropotence, which is also 3 black. But while it's not perfect, I think this is way too good to mulligan. Worst case scenario, we have a Tuna turn 2. That's bad, but it's not the worst. We could also tutor for a Wishclaw Talisman. And if you draw any ramp or any fast mana, if we can silence as well, that is just crazy for turn 2. We are going last, so that does hurt this hand a bit. But I think this hand is always something you keep. This much mana is just too good to pass up on. So yeah, if we draw land or if we draw a forest mana, we can just slam a Citadel turn 2, find our line a bit. But yeah, this is a really good hand.
Draw a card for turn. I will play a Bloodstained Mire, crack it and fetch. Fetch up the Underground Sea and tap it for a fish. Fish resolves, and I will pass the turn after that with 6 cards in hand.
I will draw a card. I'm gonna play this Marsh Flats and sacrifice that, finding a Savannah, tapping this to cast a Fyndhorn Elf, not feeding any fish here, and then passing the turn.
I will play this Arid Mesa. Go ahead and crack that, and I will put out a Plateau.
Goes my turn. So here we have the turn 1 fish, and I was looking at casting 3 non-creature spells with the 4th one coming, and I'm still gonna do it, because if you look at the game plan here, I could like slow roll and go for like a Sol Ring now, and then like next turn maybe play a Tumna. But even if I go all in here, especially with drawing the sacrifice, I can just hard jam the Citadel next turn, maybe with the silence even if I'm lucky. Well, no, I won't be lucky because I need to draw the Citadel, so I can't be lucky, but I still think it's worth it. The alternative of going slow isn't really favored in this spot because we have 1 Stax deck and 1 Sisay, so me going slow is kind of actively losing me win rates. I think making Rhetoric a threat, and also we kind of bait him into letting fish go because he has a lot of cards to develop with. So I think those reasons make it more worth it to just jam here. But giving away 4 cards is always a bit sus, so let's see if it pays out for us. But we do have a turn 2 Citadel if we want to. The sacrifice is a bit sus. We might still not go for it, but we really want to develop the mana, so we are in a good spot if the game slows down. So let's start feeding fish. Land for turn will be a Badlands. I'll then cast a Mox Diamond, not pay for fish. Pitching a Ancient Tomb. Tap Mox Diamond for a Sol Ring. Not paying for fish. Actually, tap the Badlands, of course. Sorry. Tap Sol Ring, cast the Mana Vaults, not paying for fish. And then we pass turn.
We'll untap, and then I will pay for fish, draw a card. I will put an Exotic Orchard into play, and then I need to move to discard. I am going to discard this Gemstone Caverns, and I will also discard this Arid Mesa. And with that, I pass the turn.
Draw a card. Play this kinda cool Darkwater Catacomb land. So I have an Eldermir's Call sitting in my hand to find Dockside. I could theoretically right now pass the turn and in the end step cast that thing. We currently see a few artifacts being developed over at Pontus board state. I guess there could be more artifacts coming in from Redrick. And there are some enchantments that could come into play from the War Doctor too. But I don't know for certain that Dockside is going to just jam it on my next upcoming 3rd turn. If I get 7 treasures from Dockside, I win the game on my next turn because of Emil in my hand. But I mean, we are 3 more, well, 3 more is actually not that many when I think about it. On the other hand, falling the risk of potentially falling behind, I could cast Sisay and then on my 3rd turn cast Kutsil. Kutsil is going to make Sisay being able to draw a card by attacking, and it's setting me up for potentially winning the match more steadily protected, so to say, as well. I could just put the Dork into play, but that's a little bit too weak, I think. I think in the end we are going to go for Sisay and then potentially follow up with Kutsil next turn. It's also great you can just have Sisay in play because then you're starting to just develop options. Not really looking into activating Sisay for quite a while, so it will stay as it is. Also, we kind of need 1 red mana to actually being able to cast Dockside here. So I think just more card draw is the path we want to go, and Kutsil is the answer to that. I am going to cast my big boss Sisay and pass the turn here.
And cast Enlightened Tutor, not paying for fish. And shuffle my library. I'll draw this card for turn. Play Wooded Foothills. Crack that, losing a life. I will go get Volcanic Island. I will cast this Mana Crypt, not paying for fish. First thing I'm going to cast is this Dockside. 4 treasures, correct? Cast Dauntless Dismantler. So using a treasure and the floating. And I'm going to cast this Arcane Laboratory. I will not pay for fish.
It's been a while since we had something like that in play in this channel. Happy to see it coming back. I pass on Rule of Law.
Go to my turn. I will just chill out a bit and cast a Tumna. With Tumna in play, I'll pass my turn.
Yikes. So we have Stax pieces on board I don't know if I want to pay for fish because Arcane Laboratory would, I don't know. I would probably gain some cards here and there. So I could Enlighten Tutor for something like Ristic Study, because later on, if that's destroyed, that's okay. However, we can only play one spell per turn. So it's debatable whether I want to do like Jeweled Lotus. I mean, I can't even play my commander and things like that. Wise not to blow up this Arcane Laboratory because it does shut some other players down. Ideally, what I'll do is get rid of that Arcane Laboratory when it's my turn again, and then I can take advantage of that. At the end of your turn, Pontus, I'm going to tap 1 and cast an Enlighten Tutor. Enlighten Tutor resolves. I will go search. Ristic Study. I'm going to put that on top of my library. Untap for the turn. So I have to untap, and then I will let fish die. Then I will draw the card that you all knew was there. Land return will be Misty Rainforests, and I would like to tap it in fetch. Fighting of Volcanic Islands. We'll then tap these 3 and cast Ristic Study. Ristic Study resolves. I will pass the turn discarding this Verdant Catacombs.
Draw a card for turn, Flooded Strand, sacrificing that immediately, finding a Plato. I'm going to cast Kutsil, and I'm going to pay 4 mana to pay for Ristic Study trigger, preventing that card draw. I'm going to go to combat. I'm gonna smack at Redrick for 4 with my Sisay.
No blocks.
Now when she connects, Kutsil is actually going to trigger because Sisay's power is higher than her basic stat score, so I will draw a card for turn, draw a card from it. But here, because of rule law, I'm not doing anything more and I'm passing.
Play this Plains for turn. I want to tap 5. Play Mother of Machines, Mother May I. Will not pay the taxes on that because I like to have mana open for Dauntless Dismantler if needed. I'm going to send on Rhetoric's life total also. I will pass the turn.
Go to my turn. Land for turn, I will shock in a Blood Crypt, taking 2 damage. So we are in one of those situations where we don't really have a plan. There's a bit too much stacks for us to be able to pivot here. And do you know what this deck does when that happens? We go face. We say more. So we do have 2 ways of doing that. We do have the Imp Seal, and we can draw the card immediately. So we could either find a Bowmaster's here, which is a fine play. It's a line that is definitely a thing. There's a Ristic Study and a Kutsil, so there will be some card draws. I don't think it will be that much though, so I don't think that is the line here. I think the line we actually should take here is just casting Dargo. We can pretty easily do that. We have Mana Vault is 5 mana, Sol Ring 7, red mana. That's Dargo paying for Ristic. That's pretty good. Of course, we should draw with Tymna first to just see if our plans change. But yeah, that's how I'm thinking in this position. So we first go to combat, we go draw a card. After deciding that Imp Seal doesn't really get us there with the alternatives on the table. And then the next step is to draw a random card and develop a Dargo probably, because Dargo is our fallback for these statue max-ups. I'll go to combat, and I'll swing a Tymna at Rhetoric.
No blocks.
I'll gain 2. And post-combat main phase, Tymna will trigger. I'll pay 1 to draw 1. Still in the post-combat main phase, I'll tap Mana Vault for 3. I'll tap Sol Ring for 2. I'll tap Blood Crypt for red. I'll cast Dargo, sacrificing Mana Vault, paying for a stick. Post Dargo cast, I will pass the turn.
Take my turn. Draw a card. Tarnished Citadel. I think what I'm going to do is cast this Toxic Deluge. These guys don't know it yet, and that's because it does take away some of the creatures that are starting to punch me. It shuts off Mons's ability to use Sisay and this Quetzal creature that's going to basically Grand Abolish us on his turn. I will tap 3. And I'm going to pay 5 life to cast Toxic Deluge. Toxic Deluge resolves, and because Arcane Laboratory is still in play, I will pass the turn.
Draw a card. We were having an amazing game there, but we're going to slow steadily forward, cast this Ragavan, and then pass the turn.
Untap, upkeep. As I said, tails is always safe. So heads, I take 3. Draw this card. Let's bring out our War Doctor. If you don't know what the War Doctor is, he's a 3/5. And whenever a permanent gets exiled or phases, in fact, he gets a counter. It does check the instance. So if there are 50 cards in graveyard and there's 1 instance of exiling the graveyard, it's only 1 counter. Anytime something gets multiple instances, he gets multiple time counters. They're not +1 counters, but when he attacks, he can remove creatures or players' faces. I would now like to move to combat, swing 4 at Pontus, Mother, who has Vigilance.
No blocks, take 4.
And then I will pass my turn.
Go to my turn. We will just redevelop with Tymna. And with Tymna, I'll not pay for a stick, and then I'll pass turn.
Untap and take my turn. Land for turn is a Hallowed Fountain. I'll shock it in, take 2 life. I will tap Hallowed Fountain and Volcanic Island, as well as Tarnished Citadel, and cast Teferi. I'm going to -3 Teferi and bounce the Arcane Laboratory. I will then cast Jeweled Lotus, going to exile Simian Spirit Guide. Then I will crack Jeweled Lotus for 3 blue, tap Underground Sea, and cast Crom. I'll move to combat and attack Bradicus. Right, Bradicus takes 4. I will pass the turn.
I will draw a card for this turn. So no more Rule of Law effect, that's good. I see someone I can punch. I have a Teferi active action now, so I have protection. But we're going to attack with Ragavan at Tymna Crom, hitting him for 2 damage in the face, not killing Teferi.
I take the damage, I exile a Cabal Ritual.
This is also adding a counter to the Doctor, because I'm exiling something. I also gain a treasure. Tap this, floating a black mana. Tap this for green to cast Kinnan. I'm not paying for Rhystic Study. I'm going to sacrifice this treasure to generate 2 white mana, use the remaining black mana floating to cast a Ranger Captain of Eos. Now there's a Mother in play, so I'm not gonna search my library because there's no ETB effect, but still, it's in play, and from here, I pass.
Untap, flip a coin, tails is safe. Safe. Draw this card. So I'm not sure taking the Rule of Law off the board is better or removing the threats as I see them. Does feel like Mons is building his board, and I am protected by the Teferi myself, so I'm not sure if I currently need that to go. I think being able to see draws will throw off the pace of the game also. So this is a tough choice. Ooh. Oh, I've watched this channel too much. I know what Pontus is capable of. I think the laboratory is the correct play. So, and then I would like to move to combat. So 4 at Pontus, 3 swinging. I would like to point the 2 damage at Kinnan, and then I would like to swing 3 at the Teferi. So
No response.
No blocks, take
And
4.
when Kinnan is hit with the War Doctor's effect, it will exile him, giving my doctor another counter. Pass the turn.
As my spell for turn, Imperial Seal. I'll pay for a stick. Imp Seal resolves, and I will find the card. I'll put this card on top of my library, and then I would like to move to combat. I will swing a Tymna at Rhetoric.
No blocks.
I will gain 2 life, and in post-combat phase, I'll have a Tymna trigger. I'll pay 1 life and draw a card. Then I will pass my turn.
End of your turn, I am going to tap 1 to Red Blast the Arcane Laboratory. Untap. It's not really the land I want to play, but I will play it. It is Ancient Tomb. I'm going to tap Hallowed Fountain, Volcanic Island, and Underground Sea to cast Tymna. Moving to combat, I'll send Crom at Bradicus. And I drew a card, less life, from Tymna. Other than that, I have 7 cards in hand. I'll pass turn.
Draw a card. Combat first, Ragavan at Pontus.
No blocks, take 2, and exile a Seat of Traitors.
I make a treasure. No Kinnan though, but we're going to cast a Demonic Tutor. Sadly can't pay for Rhystic Study. Tutor resolves, so tutoring, resolving. Apparently I removed Gilded Drake from this deck list, which is like the perfect solution to my problem. So my game is going pseudo great. There's just a War Doctor that is pseudo annoying, because whenever I put a creature into play, it is being killed every single turn. So Kinnan is being killed. If I put a creature into play, that creature is gonna be killed. So it's very hard for me to develop currently. Gilded Drake just solves all of those problems immediately, because I just take the Doctor and now I'm the one controlling the creature removal stuff. But I took out the Gilded Drake because I haven't been playing against the decks that have very key creatures that I need to swap. Could theoretically try to win right now, because actually not win, because the amount of artifacts and rocks enchantments aren't that many, but also anti-machine, Torpor Orb, legendary white creature makes dockside do nothing. So we are in a pickle of what we're actually finding right now. I think Ertai Resurrected is sadly no, that doesn't work either, because that's also an ETB. That Mother of Machine is a little bit of annoying. It's actually not annoying, like don't care that it's there. The annoying creature is that commander that is killing my creature specifically. Lagrella, the Magpie, is a good consideration, but also that's an ETB effect that can't go through that Grand Abolisher either. This is gonna look so strange, but we're actually going to take the Gaia's Cradle to our hand, because we haven't made a land drop, and we need to have more mana in play here. Gaia's Cradle, land drop, tap this, cast an Elvish Mystic, and then I pass. I will pay for the Rhystic Study with my Cradle for Rhystic Study.
From trigger, I'll draw a card, and I have an effect at your end step months. I'm going to cast Snapback. your War Doctor, Radicus. I'm doing that because I don't want my Crom to die.
I really want your Crom to die, because it keeps swinging. It's not very nice. Just because I want the onboard and I don't want to spend my turn recasting my dock. So I'm going to channel this Touch the Spirit Realm. I'm doing that on... There's no taxes. It's a channel. Tails were safe. Cast Lotus Petal. Second Commander, Adric. Other may I? One colorless floating. And let's put this Eidolon of Rhetoric out. It's your namesake. You may draw.
In response to the Rustic trigger on the Eidolon, I will cast a Orcish Bowmaster paying for a stick. Bowmaster resolves, but does nothing because the Elder Norn. So Rhetoric draws, that'll trigger the Bowmaster, and it will ping off the Ragavan for now.
Ragavan is dead.
I'm going to move to combat, if no other effects. Swing 4 at Rhetoric with my Elder Norn.
I will block with Tymna to gain 2 life.
Go to my turn. I will go to combat. I will swing a Tymna at Rhetoric.
No blocks.
I'll gain 2 of Tymna, and post-combat main phase I will have a Tymna trigger. I will pay 1 life to draw 1 card. I'll play a land for turn, shocking the Eagle Shrine. And post drawing a land for turn, I will just pass my turn.
Only way to break parity sometimes is to kill the stacks players, so I'm going to move to combat. I'm not going to cast any spells right now. Attacking or sending Crom at Bradicus.
No blocks, take the 4.
For Lotho. Very useful right now. Yes, so I have 1 blocker up, and I will pass turn.
Draw a card. After casting Emil the Blessed, I'm passing the turn.
Tails were safe. Flip to heads, take 3. Draw this card. Play land for turn. Tap for 5. Play Urbrask, paying the tax. Heretic Praetor, the one who says he is a 4/4 with haste. At the beginning of your upkeep, I may exile the top card of my library. I may play it this turn. At the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, the next time they would draw a card this turn, instead they exile the top card of their library, and they can play it this turn. So you can play the top card of your library from exile, but every turn you're going to exile your card instead of drawing. Let's move to combat. I'm going to send 4, 8, 11, 12 at Rhetoric.
I will, when you've declared those, I will tap these 2 and cast Fairy Mastermind. I'll block your 2 creatures that are 4 power, so Elder Norn and your Urbrask.
After that, I pass.
Go to my turn. So I will exile a Imperial Recruiter as my draw for turn. Very useful card in this board state. I'll move to combat. I'll swing a Tymna at Rhetoric.
No blocks.
Tymna will give me 2 life, and then post-combat main phase, I will pay 1 to draw 1. Land for turn will be a scrub land. Just to not lose it, I will just cast my Imperial Recruiter into a onboard Elder Norn, and I'll pay for a stick. I'll actually not pay for a stick. You may draw if you want to. That'll trigger Orcish Bowmasters, and I will ping off the Adric. Then I will pass my turn.
And I will exile top card of my library. Say silence. I have great cards in my hand, but I can't really do anything with this. So I'm going to pass turn.
I'm gonna draw a card for a turn. Well, that is so funny. Oh yeah, sure. We're gonna exile it, the Dockside Extortionist that we top decked with our Urbrask apparently. I guess it is a blocker. I think what we're going to do is cast the Dockside. And we are not going to pay for Rustic Study. You can draw a card and you can trigger Orcish Bowmaster because I don't think I am the threat here, or I don't think I'm gonna get the shot at with this. And I need someone to basically deal with an Elder Norn because I looked through my deck. I ain't got it, apparently.
That'll trigger Orcish Bowmaster, make it a 3/3, and I have 1 ping to put out. Sadly, though, Mons, while we are friends, there's only one toughness creature on board, and I don't think
You can shoot at his face.
it's 1 damage.
It's getting there eventually, Pontus. If you start accumulating it, I will just tap this and flicker my dork if you target it.
Okay,
It matters. Like in the end, it matters.
I'll ping your face, Bradicus. It's fair. No. You'll take the damage, Bradicus. That's a fair point.
Alright, I'm going to exile this card, Ubamask, and then draw a card for turn. Oh yeah, this actually turns off Bowmasters, because if I cast this and anytime you would draw a card, you instead exile it. So no draw is happening. I think I'm going to cast that. I will let you draw.
That draw will trigger Bowmasters, and I will ping your face again, Bradicus.
Move to combat. Elder Norn at Pontus. Urbrask. So War Doctor is going to swing at Rhetoric for 3, pointing 4 damage at the Crom, because the whole turn casting Crom is a thing. Elder Norn is swinging at Pontus.
I'll block with the Bowmasters, since they are no longer online.
Pass the turn.
Move to my turn. Yeah, I exile a Sculling Thorn as draw for turn. I will play the Sculling Thorn and crack it. Finding a plateau, I will move to combat. Yeah, we're kind of friends, you and I, right now. We're in a similar boat to each other. The problem is that I do really want the life from my Tymna. So I'll be kind of nice to you and just hit you with Tymna, Rhetoric.
No blocks. Take 2.
A lifelink trigger, I'll gain 2, and then post main phase, trigger Tymna. I will exile, due to Uva Mask, a Lotho. So like Mons suggests, I will follow his lead. I will tap 3, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 for a Dargo. I will not pay for a stick. Then, after Dargo, I would like to try to pass my turn.
So what are you up to, Redrick?
Yeah, I mean, I'm in a pickle right now because I wish I had more time to chew on the walnuts that I'm enjoying right now, but I can't. On the one hand, I want to use Chain of Vapor to get rid of Eidolon, which would unlock some thinking for me. Then when it moves to my turn, you can crack Ranger Captain.
Ah, I see what you mean.
In response.
So
no matter what I do, it's still at instant speed. You can do it. So I'm tempted to put the Ranger Captain back to your hand.
I mean, you still can. What is it? If you have a final extra turn effect, you're going through my Ranger Captain potentially.
Yeah, I don't have any extra turns.
Okay.
Let me think.
Yeah. You could interact with my Ranger Captain in various tricks. How about this? Are you able to like reset that commander he has down there that is attacking for massive damage? If you're going to like try and win, if you're putting Underworld Breach on the stack, I might just immediately crack my Ranger Captain. But if you're trying to just level the playing field and remove this board state in various ways, I could just let you do that.
Okay, let me think.
Like, obviously, you're not going to destroy the Elish Norn here, because then I accidentally win here and now. Actually, I don't. I just have infinite mana. With infinite treasures right now doesn't do anything, because Sisay is still in the command zone. But it's so if you don't remove the Elish Norn and just try to level the playing field, I mean, yeah, I'm okay with you, like, killing my Emil the Blessed here, because this game is... I'm not winning this game yet, this continues this track. I mean, if you're dying, I think I'm actually dying too, if I'm gonna be honest. It sounds that crazy, but... I cannot win through this lock. The War Doctor is making me unable to cast creatures, and the Mother of Machines there is making me unable to win. So I might allow you to sit there and just do things on your turn if you're bouncing the Eidolon and then me not cracking Ranger.
I am going to tap Volcanic Island and cast Chain of Vapor targeting Eidolon and Rhetoric.
Okay, and that will settle.
Still on the end step, I will cast Mystical Tutor. Finding Demonic Tutor, putting on top of my library. So I'm known in my other pod for playing tutors for tutors. So this is a classic example. Let's untap and draw the card that you all knew was there. It was Demonic Tutor. There we go. Underground Sea, cast Demonic Tutor. Demonic Tutor resolves. I'll go find something interesting.
I have a response to your Demonic Tutor. I'm actually going to tap the Guy's Cradle first. And before I put Eldermir's Call on the stack, I'm gonna sacrifice the Ranger Captain now, actually, because there could be counterspells to what I'm about to do. Ranger sacrifice ability resolves. I will tap this one over here for a white and use one of the green to cast the Call, trying to search my library for a creature, not paying for Rhystic Study. So Rhystic Study draws a pact, but the Ranger Captain is good. I'm really happy I sacrificed the Ranger Captain right now. I'll find an opposition agent, and I will cast that opposition agent, floating a blue mana. Ranger Captain resolves, and I will steal the Demonic Tutor. I'm gonna steal your Alchemist Retrieval from your deck, and I'm gonna use the blue mana and this dork to cast the Alchemist Retrieval, bouncing the Elish Norn. It's so sad that we didn't have a cheaper bounce spell for the Elish Norn, because I only now have 2 mana remaining, which is not enough to sit and flicker Dockside infinitely currently. So I can't win here and now. I can only make a situation where I win on my next turn. I'm not paying for the Rhystic Study because this card is just going to go into your exile permanently. So a Dark Ritual is added to exile. But then I have no further tricks.
And, well, I'm pretty much silent, so take it away. Pass.
So I'm gonna go to my turn and we're gonna untap. Do we have any tricks? Pontus, we can talk about this. We can talk about this silence.
We cannot, Mons.
We can.
I told you, I'm not talking to you.
How about I kill my own Emil and not win this turn, and I just simply destroy
Silence is on the stack.
You sure?
Yeah.
Because I can still just not win this turn. I can just put Sisay into play, destroy the War Doctor, and then destroy Emil, and pass with that.
Silence is on the stack, Mons.
Okay, I will respond to that and tap Cradle for I will respond touristic and float 1 green and activate Emil targeting dockside. Or actually, wait a minute. No, I will not do that. I will pass on silence when I think about it. I don't have a response to this, so I can sit and have silence into play when I start activating my unicorn.
Silence resolves.
So looking over the board state, looking over the situation, it's kind of strange. Because of the I have to pass turn and basically survive the turn cycle, if I start flickering and exiling my dockside infinitely here, I am going to make the War Doctor infinite. If I kill Rhetoric, I am going to basically make my dockside break even, which means I won't be able to make infinite mana from it. So what I kind of have to do is have to pass turn, make the War Doctor attack me, and make the War Doctor target and kill Emil, and in response to Emil being targeted and potentially killed, I start activating Emil flickering dockside to make infinite mana. War Doctor will have infinite time counters on it, but I will still have infinite treasures. We go to my next turn where I try to win with Sisay, having infinite treasures already in play. Big Lady's gonna come back down though still, which ultimately means that I also should not have casted Alchemist Retrieval, but it's been a long game and a tricky one too. But because of silence and I can't cast Sisay, I have to pass here.
Draw a card for turn. I would like to cast Karn.
This ultimately means that I am not going to be able to do anything. Even if I start flickering right now, it won't matter. Yep, pass.
I will tap Lotus Petals, sacrifice it, tap this, and cast Rest in Peace. I would like to exile graveyards, and that will be 1 instance of exile, not paying for either. Would you like to exile 2 cards? Tick up Karn to 6, and I will turn this into a creature. Move to combat at Pontus, and I would like to target the 13 damage at Emil. No, I would like to target the 13 damage at Dargo, because that would kill my War Doctor. So 13 damage at Dargo. No other effects.
Dargo goes to command zone, and I take 3.
Pass my turn.
Go to my turn. Draw for turn is the Soul Petition. I will move straight into combat and hit Rhetoric for 6.
I'm dead.
I'll gain 2 life of Tymna, and impose combat main phase. She will trigger, and I will exile top card from my library, which is a Windswept Teeth. I'll play that Windswept Teeth as land for turn. No, I will not, because there's an oppo. I'll tap a Blood Crypt for a black, cast a sacrificing Tymna. 2 more mana, cast this Adnos. Adnos resolves. I'll start flipping. Run Catacombs, Demonic Tutor, Esper Sentinel, Cursed Mirror, Cabal Ritual, Heat Shimmer, Marsh Flats, Vampiric Tutor, Defense Grid, Bloodstained Mire, Mana Confluence, Woodfoot Hills, Dalney, Portable Hole, Lotus Petal, Command Tower, Jeweled Lotus, Chromox, Savin's Reclamation. Unless I'm missing a line here, which I don't think I am, but I might be. I don't think I have it here, so I will flip some more and see if we die or if we find some extra mana. I'll flip a Magda. That's problematic. That doesn't help us. I feel like it might be possible still, so let's just try and see if we can't still do something here and not risk dying, even though we're still dying if we don't win here. So land for turn will be this command tower. I will tap Scrub Land to cast a Portable Hole. Portable Hole ETB will exile the Rest in Peace. Then I will tap 2 to Soul Partition targeting Karn.
I would like to cast March of Otherworldly Light, pitching this Eidolon of Rhetoric, and exile your Portable Hole.
Soul Partition resolves.
Rest in Peace, ETBs.
Cast a Lotus Petal. I'll cast a Jeweled Lotus, and I'll cast a Chromox. Chromox imprint trigger will imprint this Vampiric Tutor. Floating a Colorless, casting Cabal Ritual, making 3 black. I'll crack Jeweled Lotus, 3 Dargo mana, so 3 Dargo red. I'll use 2 black and sack Lotus Petal for a red. I'll cast a Cursed Mirror. Cursed Mirror will enter as a dockside.
I will sacrifice my treasure.
Okay, dockside VTB, make 3 treasures. So I sacrifice 2 things. I'll sacrifice the 3 treasures for 2 red and white, I guess. So that will take me up to 5 sacrifices. That way I can use 1 Dargo red to cast a Dargo. I'll then use my colorless floating, 1 red and the white floating, because the white doesn't actually help me, I realize. I'll cast a Altar of the Wretched. So Altar of the Wretched has a ETB, and it says when it ETBs, you may sacrifice a non-token creature. If you do, draw X cards, then mill X cards, where X is that creature's power. So I will sacrifice Dargo and draw 6, but exile 6 to the draw thingy, and then exile them to Rest in Peace. So for my draws, I will draw a Twin Flame, a dockside, a entomb, a grinding station, a tainted pact, a wheel of misfortune, and a final fortune. And to exile, I'll put a range captain of Eos, a Bola Citadel, a Besieged Mirror, Praetor's Grasp, Luxury Suite, and a Polluted Delta. I will pay 2 mana to cast a Dockside. Dockside will ETB, and I'll make 3 treasures. I'll use 2 treasures to cast a Twin Flame, targeting my original Dockside. So I'll make a Dockside copy, and it will make 3 more treasures. I'll use 2 treasures to cast this Final Fortune. Final Fortune resolves, and I would like to go to my last turn. So to close out the turn, I'll just recast Dargo for the Dargo mana I have left floating. But then I'll go to my next and last turn. I will exile a Mox Opal for turn, which I might as well just cast. I will untap all my mana, and then I will cast a Heat Shimmer, target my Dockside, hold priority, tap this for mana, tap 3 more to cast a Dual Caster Mage to make infinite Dual Casters and kill my remaining opponents. Good game. So yeah, that was a game.
That was a game.
Went a bit longer than I was expecting, seeing my starting hand. But that's how it goes sometimes. During that whole game, I never really had any decision points, to be honest. I was just turtling, waiting for my turn to do anything. And my only real decision point was actually when I silenced Mons.
Yeah.
My initial plan was to just NOS in his end step and then Final Fortune to win. But I was low enough and didn't really have enough mana to feel completely secure in that line. And after resolving NOS, we saw that, yeah, I didn't get there. But
Patience basically paid off there.
yeah, I got lucky though.
Yeah.
That altar really saved my ass, so to say.
Fun fact, if you wouldn't have won, I would probably have won that because you removed the Karn and there were no anti-ETB creature in play to stop me. So I was hoping for that altar to finally, because when the War Doctor basically put Karn into play, I basically conceded it in my own mind. And I have to say, the War Doctor, wow, that was a horrible experience. Glad to have you here. I'm just joking.
It's all right. I feel like any form of stacks deserves the ire. So I was unhappy to see 2 of the same effect, so I don't usually like Ubamass plus having my Urabrask on field, and I had 2 forms of Rule of Law, but it happens that way sometimes. I was hoping, because I run like 20 forms of interaction, like instant sorceries, that could handle some of this. But yeah, no, you just get those effects, and that's the way it goes sometimes.
True. So how do you feel about the War Doctor? Like, this is the first time I think we've ever had something of that on the channel. We've had Armix on the channel, or commanders that are oppressive in that same manner. But what's your take on the Worm Doctor?
Yeah, the War Doctor. I love that I have the biggest gun at the table usually, and people have to fear it. Bowmaster, I was hoping my mom would stay around and you couldn't remove my Adrix. That way I could counter one of these win cons that you guys are going to try and go through. Because Stifle on my secondary commander is usually my game plan, but I was really hoping that Karn would be able to cut you both off, enough for me to close out the win. But you just Soul Partition. I did not see Soul Partition coming out of nowhere.
I did not see a silence coming out of nowhere. That was annoying.
That was beautiful.
No, it was not.
That's just a skill issue, Mons.
Oh, that's true. that's true. In any case, this has been a long game with a lot of back and forth. There have been situations where I thought this game is going great and suddenly it's going terrible. I think everyone can agree kind of on that, potentially. In any case, guys, hope you enjoyed the match. We'll see you next time, and we hope to have the squirrel back too. Take care. Hope see you then.
Goodbye.